Hey, Laptop Recruiter family, how you doing? So, on the video I did the other day about the webinar, well, there's 4 different types of webinar you can run to bring in clients or candidates, and a few people messaged me around my comment about the Wild Wild West. So, what do I mean about that? I didn't mean to offend anybody. What I meant was this. When I came into the recruitment industry, which is over a decade ago, and probably 12 years ago, I was first introduced to it, and then 100% focused on this market at that point. It was about a decade ago. What I saw was pretty chaotic. And what I mean by that was, when I came into dealing with recruitment and search business owners, and I'd ask simple questions like, right, what's your niche? Well, my niche is this. Okay, great. How many clients are in your niche? Don't know. How many candidates are in your niche? Don't know. Okay. Right. So how do you know you're giving them the best candidate then? Right. So your challenge right now is you're not getting enough roles, correct? Yeah. Okay. So how are you getting roles then? Well, we're using LinkedIn, we're sending out emails, and we're going networking. Okay. So your client base, there's how many are in it? Don't know. Well, I reckon there might be 8,000 from what I've seen based on what you told me. Do you think 8,000, maybe 10-15% are hiring right now? Yeah. Okay. It was just chaos. There was no strategy to it, and there was also this resistance to moving online. So I joined the working world in 1996, and the internet as we know it had been around a year at that point. So my first job was at Nomura. At the point, the biggest Japanese bank in the world, and way out my depth. Anyway, but all I knew from working, and I first of all worked in a Tesco's warehouse, which is like a Walmart warehouse when I left university. But from my working quote career, all I knew was the internet. It was always there from the start, you see. So that progressed into projects, working inside investment banking and the media. So when I came into the corporate world, and it was all new to me, but then you start to learn these skills. And then when I left the corporate world and I'd become quite an entrepreneur, and I was dealing with automotive companies and recruitment companies, and then I found recruitment more or less chose me, I was quite taken aback by how messed up it was and how easy it was to get ahead of the competition. Very, very easy. As long as you understood this, you get leads in, you convert the lead, you deliver the candidate. There's only 3 parts to search, recruitment, or staffing. Search isn't different. The candidate you need is part of a finite number of candidates in the niche. Staffing is the same. Recruitment's the same. Different, you might say different levels of candidate, agreed, but the actual fundamental principles of business process and strategy are exactly the same. So when I came into this and I started to really dig deep and play around with this, like, whoa, this is great opportunity. And one of my first difficult encounters of the market was when I was trying to explain about webinars and one-to-many, but changing the word webinar to online seminar, that particular teaching point took off. So it was like the Wild Wild West. And then I worked with companies, and then these companies had great results. Then over time, we've gone from recruitment 1.0, which is maybe cold calling and networking and yada, yada, yada. Then into 2.0, which maybe the early days of LinkedIn, maybe, even webinar principles and the online principles I was teaching in my world a decade ago. Then you got recruitment 3.0. We started to, bring in board automation and, some of these great companies out there, etc., etc. And everyone's going to automation, tools. Fuck me. Your end job is to get to 100K a month and place 5 candidates. Your end job is to get here. You're focusing on building a SaaS company, not a recruitment company. You need to have the right fundamentals at the right point. I think right now we're going to recruitment 4.0, or maybe back to almost 1.0. Since the C words happened, there's been, of course, what happened in where you're in the world. What happened in March was there was a progression and a regression, and what I mean by that is the following: we had, for example, we've got I believe there's 4 webinar strategies you can use inside Recruitment Search. My strategies. And we used one of these strategies, but we had to come up with a new twist on it when the C word happened. And then we were getting members who'd never ran a webinar before, getting 500 clients onto a webinar at their very first attempt. Now that's bloody tough. But that was in March, April. Progress 12 months, that same strategy will probably get 50 people if you're lucky on it. So my job with my members always be ahead of the curve and be creating new strategies and testing, which is what I love. So I think what's happened now, because everyone's gone online, even Bob, who is 70 and he hates the online world, he's had to go online. Everyone's gone online. So what this meant is there's a lot of crap that's come online. Now you, in your world, would say, Andy, we're different because we outsource our social media. Or Andy, we're different because whatever. Your business is to get X amount of profit, which is through revenue, less expenses, simple stuff. And do you know what? I'm the most disciplined, lazy person, the quickest route from A to B. So your world may be upgraded, but your competitors' world have also been taken online. So what you were doing before that might have worked at 9 out of 10 is now being impacted by everyone else going online. So it now might work at 3 out of 10. Because the inbox or the social media accounts of your clients, your candidates, have now been impacted, diarrheaed all over by all of your competition by going online. So I actually think recruitment search has gone backwards in a lot of ways. Because everyone's now come online, everyone's now going, I need to get authority, I will do a webinar, I will do, and it's like, there's a lot of people doing the same thing in a really poor manner. And you might be really ethical and world class at what you do, but you've got to be aware of your client. They don't know you, they don't trust you yet. All they're saying is 50 people coming in their inbox or on the social media page telling them the same thing. Now you know you're more ethical, you know you're better, you know you give a shit, you know you've been doing it 10 years. But have you adapted? So I think as an industry, it's great everyone's come online. But at the end of the day, you're always going to speak to someone. As one of my dear members, Darren Frank, said, he came to Darren 10X's business with us. And one of the things Darren said when he came to a live event in London, he actually got flown into London that time. He was speaking on stage. He'd be using some of our authority strategies at this point. And now he's the leader in fintech in Africa. He's actually getting flown to an event through authority strategies. But Darren came to the event and he said to the group, said, listen, don't forget, at the end of the day, you're speaking to an individual, speaking to a human. And I think what's happened is everyone's got so engrossed on online, Zoom and everything else, you forget that the buying decision, the hiring decision, the candidate's family, the candidate's kids, the candidate's fears about in that state, will have to wear a mask, etc. That all still exists. So recruitment isn't just about going online. I've said this from the start. It's leads, which is online, number one. And number two is conversion. You convert the client, you convert the candidate. Yes, you want to do that online as much as possible. So as I said on the webinar video, inside the Laptop Recruiter group, you want to get all those objections overcome before you even speak to a client. Then number three, you deliver the candidate. You get through guarantee period, and you get repeat business, etc. So you might well be doing things exceptionally well, but you need to be aware that everyone now in recruitment search is now trying to do things they didn't want to do. And I've seen firsthand, say, I created new strategies. I've created, when the C word started, and by the way, I'm saying that because we get shut down on some platforms. When it started, every Monday I created a new strategy. For the next 10 days, I tested it with 2 members. Then the following Wednesday, 10 days later, I'd share it on a live case study with our members, what we'd experienced. Rapid testing of new strategies. And hand on heart, I've never worked so hard in that year. Talking to members, and most of the time it wasn't even about strategies, about personal problems. But all the effort I put in that March, April, May with a new strategy, a year later, that same strategy would work probably 1/10 as well as it did then. And as a business owner, you need to be aware that you cannot keep doing the same things. You need to adapt. You need to adapt. And if you're not adapting, you're dying. Massive believe if you're not improving by 1%, you're dying by 1%. It compounds. then you start to go down, then you make irrational decisions, emotion comes in, you're an entrepreneur, and then you're in a bad place. So you need to adapt. And I think the best way to adapt is predict the future. And you predict the future by creating the future. So I think we've gone backwards in lots of ways as an industry, but I also think we've gone forwards massively as an industry. But the reason why I say we've gone backwards is because I think maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd have those who got it, and we've always had a massive attraction from those in the USA. They seem to, in Australia, they seem to get it. I'm British, but us Brits are like, no, I am changing. But the Americans and Australians and Canadians, they've always come to us in absolute, complete drives of them. And I think it's because they're open about change. And I have noted that being open about change, but also knowing now that the change is now happening at a rapid pace. So I've shared with my members just this week on our mastermind call on a Monday that I've seen a shift in recruitment, and there's 3 things that we need to do inside our group to change it, which is what we're now doing. So the strategies that I might have created a couple of years ago are now still great strategies, still laid out, but then now there are stronger alternatives. And so just be aware of adapting, because I've said from the start with this, and you go and find this on YouTube, you go to our website, if you go to our podcast during the beginning of the C word, I said at the start, I believe this is going to be the biggest opportunity, looking back 10 years and looking forward 10 years, that the recruitment, search, staffing industry has ever had. There'll never be a better opportunity to make rapid growth happen and sustain it. So right now, this is opportunity, it won't come around again. But if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same result. And I guarantee, well, you make your own decision. I know with my ecosystem of business owners that what you used to work will go down, might be 1% a month, might be 1% a week. You're on a slow death. So look, adapt. And know this, these are tough times, but also it's like the analogy of the surfer. The surfer. What happens when a storm comes in? Local radio station, you're in Hawaii, you've been told, leave town. Everyone's panicking, the storm's coming in. And there's a small handful of surfers who are like, this is now the opportunity I've been looking for. This is what I've been waiting for. This is the big wave. And right now, I swear, with every part of my DNA, there will not be a better opportunity now in the next 10 years to either create, if you've got an existing business now and you get recruitment, but to grow rapidly your business or scale your business, this next 10 years, there won't be a better opportunity. This is it now. So guys, with that said, if you're thinking things are negative, they're not. This is game time. So guys, with that said, Laptop Recruiter family, glad you're here. Let me know your comments below. Make it happen for you. Adapt.